Mad honey cannot be understood without understanding the environment in which it is created. Its characteristics, composition, and traditional handling are shaped by geography, climate, altitude, and ecological balance. Unlike standardized products designed for consistency, mad honey emerges from a highly specific natural setting. Environment is not a background factor here, it is the foundation. The Himalayan landscape creates conditions that are difficult to reproduce elsewhere. High altitude alters oxygen levels and increases exposure to ultraviolet light. These factors influence how plants grow and how bees operate within the ecosystem. Plants exposed to environmental pressure often adapt by producing protective compounds. These compounds may become part of the nectar collected by bees, contributing to variations observed in the honey across regions and seasons. Rhododendron forests play a central role in this process. These plants bloom during limited time windows, often under challenging weather conditions. Their nectar reflects the resilience required to survive in such environments. Bees time their activity around these brief bloom periods, collecting nectar only when conditions allow. This narrow harvesting window may influence the overall composition of the honey, making each batch closely tied to a specific moment in the season. Temperature also plays an important role. Cooler mountain climates slow natural processes such as fermentation, enzyme activity, and crystallization. Honey produced under these conditions tends to develop gradually rather than rapidly. Slower formation allows compounds to integrate over time, rather than being altered quickly by heat or artificial processing. This gradual development mirrors the slower rhythms of the communities that harvest it. Water sources contribute another layer. Meltwater from glaciers and mountain rainfall carries distinct mineral profiles. Plants absorb these minerals through the soil, and traces may pass into nectar and honey. Low industrial activity and limited pollution help preserve these natural characteristics. Environmental cleanliness reduces external interference, allowing the honey to reflect its surroundings more directly. The physical terrain also shapes human interaction with mad honey. Steep cliffs and difficult access naturally limit large-scale harvesting. This creates built-in constraints. Harvesting requires preparation, effort, and restraint. The landscape itself enforces boundaries, reducing the likelihood of overcollection and encouraging careful handling. Sensory conditions matter as well. Mountain environments are typically quieter and less visually crowded. Lower levels of artificial noise and light influence how people experience food and routine. When environmental stimulation is reduced, attention tends to increase. Calm surroundings can shape perception, making people more aware of subtle changes in taste, texture, and response. Traditional use reflects this awareness. Mad honey is not taken during moments of urgency or physical demand. It is associated with rest, warmth, and quiet settings. These conditions support a slower pace of interaction, allowing the body to respond naturally rather than reactively. The setting is considered as important as the substance itself. Modern research supports the idea that environmental context influences physiological response. Factors such as stress levels, noise exposure, and visual stimulation affect digestion and nervous system activity. When these inputs are reduced, the body processes food differently. This does not make the honey inherently active or inactive, but highlights how context shapes experience. Seasonal variation adds further complexity. Honey collected early or late in the blooming cycle can differ in taste, density, and aroma. Traditional knowledge accounts for these differences, adjusting expectations and use accordingly. Modern preferences for uniformity often overlook this variability, but in natural systems, variation reflects adaptation, not inconsistency. Long-term climate stability has allowed these practices to develop through observation rather than controlled experimentation. Knowledge was passed down by watching patterns repeat over generations. When environments change rapidly, these systems become disrupted. This underscores the importance of protecting ecosystems, not just preserving products. Understanding the role of environment shifts focus away from isolated effects. Mad honey does not exist independently. It is part of a living system that includes plants, bees, climate, terrain, and human behavior. When removed from this system, much of its context is lost. Modern approaches often try to extract elements from nature and apply them universally. Himalayan practices demonstrate a different logic. Meaning comes from alignment, not extraction. Place shapes profile. Mad honey reflects the environment that produces it. Its identity is formed by mountains, forests, seasons, and human restraint. To understand it, one must look beyond the jar and toward the landscape that gives it form. The broader lesson is simple. Nature does not offer isolated elements, it offers systems. Mad Honey is one example of how place, ecology, and tradition remain inseparable. For more clear science-informed and context-driven explorations of nature and tradition, subscribe and stay connected.